Okay, guys, welcome to my weekly roundup. First off, I am not going to sing to you today, but unfortunately, my microphone has decided to break, and now I have to hold it like I am Kylie Minogue about to sing a beautiful song. So please bear with me. Hopefully, it provides a little bit of entertainment either way. So this week, what have I been up to? A very mixed week. Probably didn't get a lot of operational work done, which I would have liked to have done. But if I look at what went well, I think I told you last week I had one big meeting one big meeting this week, should I say, with a large retailer and shopping centre owner, and basically I really needed to get some of their buy-in to resolve some leasehold issues with one of the developments I'm looking at now. This was quite a big meeting because I was looking to pitch some potential development work to them for future developments with properties that they own. Obviously, they're a large company. They've got 46 shopping centres, I think like 9,000 shops on high street, 600 odd pubs. So they're a big deal, and building relationships in that area for future could obviously yield really good potential for when hopefully my pipeline continues as I grow and as the business grows. So it was a real big deal, and the guys who I was chatting to were the head of retail, so residential, and the asset manager for the whole of the company. So these guys, only a couple of CEO and big decision makers. So that kind of meeting, I had to really focus and prepare well to be able to get across my vision, what I wanted to do, and the support I needed. And the meeting, it was 2 hours long, and it was a really good sharing of minds, sharing of thoughts. I had a lot of common visions for the area that we'd like to develop, obviously from residential, and they've got their commercial aspirations. And really positive. And I went in with a little bit of a negative vibe, but came out with a huge smile on my face. They kind of understood what I needed from them. They were clear on the leasehold requirements, what I needed for them to release it, or the freehold, and also for a proposal for one of their properties later on. So all in all, a really good meeting. I've got a couple of actions to take away. I've got to give them a proposal. But ultimately, if this can go through, that opens up this development I'm currently looking at, which is for two or three big commercial units and 4950 apartments on the top. So a lot of groundwork has gone in, but definitely paid off. I'll talk about that as well as kind of like a lessons learned and some useful tips, but really, really happy with that. Apart from that, I did a deal analysis on a potential development up in Aberdeen. So it's 89, that's quite a lot, 89 units, again, mixed use conversion in Scotland. Beautiful old listed building. A little bit different up there in Scotland. You can't use prior approval, you've got to go for full planning, but there was some real potential there, and I'm currently trying to get a feasibility scheme worked up by the architect. So let's see what happens. What else went well? Another step closer, a long saga with my pension. So I've been doing this for 8 months. If you'd like to know a little bit more about transferring maybe a defined benefit scheme or a defined contribution scheme into a SAS or a SIP, an occupational pension, then check out my website. Check out also in my Facebook feed, you'll be able to find my own adventures of getting there. It took about 8 months, but I'm now at the step where my current trustee within the company that I work for, I nearly said it, I'm not sure if I'm allowed, I don't know. Anyway, so within my current company, they're about to release the funds. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, month, I should be able to have some money to buy some property with. So maybe that's the only bit of singing I'll do today. So anyway, good news for that. So I'll keep you kind of posted. I'll also be updating my blog on that, so keep your eyes peeled for that. As always, I tried to give like a very honest opinion with my roundup. So there was a few things that didn't really go well, which I was not very happy about. I've just got a personal buy-to-let portfolio, which helps cash flow the business in this current growth stage. But you can't cash flow a business if your tenants don't pay. And unfortunately, I'm having to evict one of my tenants now. I've got to be lucky in 5 years. That's probably the first tenant I've had to evict, but I'm owed £2,000 already, and probably that's going to keep increasing even more by the time it gets kicked out. I always like to do lessons learned, and so should everybody else on these kind of things. And there's a few things that I should have seen before. I've left it till month 5, and you know, by law you can't evict by month 3 once 3 months of rent are kind of owed by the tenant. I could have kicked off, and I should have really started off the eviction process. The writing was already on the wall at that point, so you know, try and be proactive. Don't make the mistake I did. If you are seeing it like that, better to be, you know, try and start that process and get them out earlier so you can move on. The other point as well, never forget to pay your bills. And when I said bills here, I mean service charges for flats. So I got a couple of polite reminders remind me that I hadn't paid them, which was my fault. And also just shows you why you should set direct debit up for these things and not leave it to online payments. I'll talk a little bit more about cash flow in business next week, because I think it's really important, especially for, you know, companies just starting. Maybe you're just starting. It's really important you have cash coming in to service all of these smaller things. So not great on that side of things, but they haven't kicked us out yet, so that's good news. In terms of useful hints and tips, I wrote actually a really good long read article, should I say, and I posted that yesterday. It's basically a beginner's guide to developing relationships and influencing stakeholders. And I basically just rolled on with the meeting that I did with this company, this shopping centre company, this retail company. And I thought it would be good to share with people, you know, some real key points when you're building relationships. Now, relationships and stakeholders can take all kinds of forms. It's not just your investor, or it's, you know, it can also be the tenant who's using your maybe for your flats, down to the architects that you work with, the planning agents. These are all stakeholders. Anyone basically who has an influence over the success of your business is a stakeholder, and you need to manage and develop relationships in different ways. Now, you know, in this case, I had a third party stakeholder who didn't really give a crap about my business, but I had to still develop a relationship and develop a kind of bond with them to be able to paint a picture of, okay, you need to buy into what I'm telling you, and I need your help to resolve these issues. And you have to take everyone on its own merit, obviously, but there's some real key tips that you can actually do to help encourage that. The biggest one is, you know, establishing trust quickly, and a great way to do that is through introductions. And make sure, you know, you've got someone who can give you a direct introduction that already builds that trust level. You know, they say that it's between 3 and 7 meets before you can start really going in for the hard sell, or whatever that hard proposal is. But by building an introduction from somebody else, it already improves that social standing, your social proof, and makes things a little bit easier. I run through a lot more, give you more good tips about pitching, actual physical pitches, give you 5 really good tips. Basically, be prepared and be on time. Look to solve other people's problems. That's a real key. Don't just go in with your own proposal. Give people time to reflect. Ask them the questions. What could be the blockers? Why could, you know, how do we get forward with this proposal? Have backup options as well. Be prepared for option D, E, and Z. And finally, always follow up with a post-meeting recap. Now, I go into a lot more detail in the long read, so please go and have a look at it. I think it'll be really useful for those who, you know, might be wanting to build or in the beginning stages. If I'm looking ahead to kind of what's coming up, it's kind of a fairly busy week. Obviously, I've got a follow-on from this meeting with New River, and I've got with the company, and I've got a few things to put together. I've got to put a scheme proposal to put together, and basically showing them what my plans are, how that works with them, the community, those kind of aspects. So I'm going to have to work with my power team, the architects, for instance, to kind of come up with a proposal for that. So I think most of my time next week is going to be spent around doing that, following up with deal analysis, and making sure I'm paying the bills. So hopefully you kind of enjoyed my crazy microphone singing contest. Don't know what's going on with this, but hopefully I can get that fixed next week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a really good weekend. And if you need anything on the pensions, anything on pitching, or anything with just general business stuff, then just give me a shout. Okay, hope you have a good weekend. Cheers, guys.